Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to another episode of Leaf with the Legends. Oh, today I'm with, I don't even want to say little bro. He like a little bro to me, man. I got Stevens Point legend. I got Wisconsin basketball legend, 2016, Wisconsin Mr. Basketball, three-time first, three-time first team All-State, and four-time Conference Player of the Year. I'm with my boy Trevor Anderson, man. Thanks for pulling up to the podcast.
Appreciate you having me.
Oh man, for sure, for sure. We go back, man. But we might as well just set the tone right away, man, and let the people know how we met.
You
Your
gonna tell
your
them a
your
story?
your 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 experience might be a little different than mine. You want to tell the story? You want to tell your side, or you want
Uh,
me to tell my side?
no, you could tell the story.
All right, bet. So it's 2000. It must have been 2006 or 2007. I'm a sophomore at Stevens Point. I'm playing. First day of practice, I walk into the locker room. I'm getting ready. I'm early, and it's this little kid sitting on my stool. So the little kid happened to be my assistant coach's son, which is Trevor. So coach was in there, and he like, yeah, Trevor, introduce yourself. So Trevor looks at me and he goes, "Hey, what's up? My name's Trevor, but you can call me T Money." How old were you? You had to be what, nine,
8 or 9.
8 or 9?
I always had that confidence, Leaf.
I love it. I love it. And from that point on, I'm like, oh yeah, I can rock with T Money. I still to this day I call you T Money. Like I'm like, for you to be nine and like you talking to basically adults like this, like yeah, you're a different breed. You're a different breed. So who like how did you get that initial confidence, and like how did you start? Like was it always like that with sports, or like where did that confidence come from?
Um, yeah, a lot of it was with sports. I worked so hard, so like, in my opinion, there was no reason to not have confidence. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that carried on to other things. Um, just kind of meeting people for the first time, playing a new sport that I didn't have any clue what was going on. I just always had maybe delusional confidence in myself. I credit that to my grandparents, both sides, and then my parents, obviously. You know my pops real well.
Man, shout out to Ando.
Yep, shout out to Ando. I would just say I put the work in, so I felt no reason to not be confident in myself.
No, I love it. I love it. So was Pops the first person to put the ball in your hand?
Yeah, so he was a coach obviously his whole life. My grandpa, his dad, Tim Anderson, was a longtime coach. So I was just always around the game, and I always just saw them, and it was just kind of one of those things. I just kind of wanted to be like them. So yeah, as long as I can remember, I had a ball in my hands and running around with the neighbor boys and other assistant coaches' sons and daughters, and we kind of we kind of just ran around at the schools, came to every practice, every game, and my love for it just kind of grew from there.
Definitely, definitely. So was there any other sports, or was it just strictly basketball?
I was all state in baseball as well.
Right. Oh,
People
that's
people
right.
people
That's
don't know
right.
that.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, I was a pitcher, shortstop, batted the 2 stick, 3 stick, and then I played football all the way up until freshman year. They had me kind of in like a Debo Samuel type role. And so I was literally like, I'd take a couple of snaps at QB, I'd take a couple of snaps at running back, I'd take a couple at wide receiver. And I think it was DC Everest, a team in Stevens Point's conference, my freshman year. I got hit so much and those dudes got bigger and bigger as we got older.
Yeah.
And after I was walking away from that game just limping and stuff. And I was like, I'm not doing this if I'm gonna just be touching the ball and just getting tackled every time. Like I'm just not. My bread and butter was basketball, so I wanted to stay healthy for that. And then my senior year, I actually went out for soccer
Mm.
because I came around. I quit freshman year football, and then I stopped playing sophomore junior year, and then my senior year I just got an itch to play another sport,
Mhm.
and I actually went to the soccer route to try to stay healthy for basketball, but then I ended up spraining my MCL, so it didn't work out well. But soccer, very very fun sport. I
Got you.
enjoyed I enjoyed all the sports I played.
So looking back on it, would you have like gotten into soccer earlier?
Yeah, I would have played soccer my whole life if I could do it over again. Um, I just think there's a lot of parallels with basketball and soccer. The footwork, the passing, the cutting, it's just all very tied in together. Um, and then, like, some of the best hoopers I ever played against on AAU high school ball were like the point guards that I matched up against, they played soccer. So you can just tell a soccer player and a point guard that plays both. I personally can. I don't know if the viewers can or not, but I can just tell by the way they move and their footwork, and they're just very fluid athletes. I feel like.
Got you. Got you. No, I didn't know. I knew about the baseball, but I had forgotten. But I didn't know about soccer at all. That's what's
Yeah.
up, though. That's
What,
what's
what
up.
else did you play? Did you play only basketball?
Yep, I was only basketball man. Well, I ran cross country for 2 years.
What event?
Cross country.
Oh, cross country. I
Yeah,
thought you
yeah.
said track.
Oh no, yeah, no, cross country.
So what did you do? You just ran the long
Just
distance?
yeah, just long distance. I just did it just to because I thought it was gonna get me in better shape for basketball. But like
Mm,
knowing what I know now, I should have been doing like track workouts because
right,
it's a different, twitch muscle,
right,
but it did, I would say mentally though, it did get me tougher because, for practice we're running anywhere from 5 to 8 miles sometimes, just
right.
to practice. So it's like when Coach Guys is yelling, you got to run some more. It's like, all right, lock in. You've been tired. You've been like
Yeah,
super tired from running. So, but I wish I would have played baseball though, because my dad was really really good in baseball.
yeah. I'll never understand people who run for fun. I'll never understand it. We have at Spash, our cross country team. They've won conference like 30 of the last 40 years. So we got a really good program. I just like looked at those kids and I was like, I just don't understand how you can just run for fun.
I know. I
But
just had I just had a runner on the show a couple episodes ago, and I made a promise to her that I'm gonna at least get out there a couple times and run with them, with their fear run group. So, but I just like you said, I just if I don't got a basketball in my hands or it's tough. It's tough. It's tough.
it really is. I've been trying to get back in shape here, but that running stuff, I don't know, man.
So when you moved from Nina to Stevens Point when you were about eight-ish or whatnot.
Yeah,
And I remember you, the Hauser brothers, like coming to the Stevens Point basketball camps, and y'all just dominating y'all age group. Like y'all was playing like two, damn near three grades up. So like you just always been like you just I from when I know you, you always just had that competitive fire and that nature. So like how much did like Joey and Sam Hauser, like how much did you guys push each other?
yeah. I mean, we pushed each other a lot. Like going back to those camps, I'd always win dribble knockout,
Mm-hmm.
and then Sam would always win lightning.
Yep.
But then we'd get pissed when, like, if I didn't win lightning, I'd be mad, and if he didn't win dribble knockout, he'd be mad. Um, but yeah, I mean, and you know how it is when you got two really good players on the same team. You got the outside expectations.
Yep.
You got recruiting. I just think me and Sam just never let it tear us apart. There's a lot of dudes in those situations that they you could go the opposite ways, and we never did that. Going fast forwarding to like his senior year at Virginia, and I knew my career was kind of coming to an end. That's when I kind of jumped in that like player development role because I turned myself from a 6'1", guy who can't jump over a phone book into a Division I basketball player, Mr. Basketball. So I kind of knew what it looked like, and I always had a passion for doing that. So when it was his senior year, and we're like, man, you can really do something special with this. I'd work out before, and then they would come in after, and I would run them through a little workout. Um, so like, there's always been that love. There's never been that disconnect. I'm sure at times, looking back in high school, we let some of the noise get to us for maybe a week or a month, but like never long term. And I think that speaks to the character of me and Sam, because like I said, I've seen a lot of dudes who are talented on the same team, and it just doesn't work out. And I think that's credit to Dave Hauser and my dad, and the coaches we had around us. It just like we weren't going to let it get in the way of the ultimate goal, and that's winning. All that other stuff, players get wrapped up in it, parents get wrapped up in it, but like at the end of the day, when you look back 10, 20 years from the moment that you were standing in, like Mr. Basketball is cool, 4-time player of the year is cool, but like the winning, the gold balls, the bringing the community together, that's the stuff that you remember. And anybody who tells you differently is lying.
Man. And you, that's a great segue because the winning, like that's what y'all definitely did at Spash. So I'm just gonna read off some of the stats. So
Don't hype me up too much on here now.
that's what the platform's for, because
You're gonna
we
have
got
me in whitetail acting crazy.
that white tail. Hey, because we got that Midwest humbleness, right? Like it's like we don't want to gas ourselves up. So that's what I'm here for. All right. So here we go.
I
So
appreciate it.
this is your high school stats. You were named 2016 WBCA Mr. Basketball. You were named 2016 Wisconsin Associated Press Player of the Year. Your senior year, you averaged 24.6 points, 4.4 assists, 64% shooting, 87.6% free throw shooting, and you shot 55% from three. You helped Spash to back-to-back Division I state championships in 2015 and 2016. And over your career, you guys compiled a 100 win to 6 loss record. You were 3-time WBCA first team All State, 4-time Conference Player of the Year. So when you like look back on that, and it hasn't been, you coming up on, well, about 8 years out. So like when you look back on it, you like what goes through your mind like when you hear those numbers and like just think about
I hate it.
You hate
I,
it,
I don't like it because that's in the past, Leaf. We're
but it
we're we're here, we're here now.
but it built you though.
No, I get that. It definitely built me. It's a part of the story,
Yeah,
but I think that's what made me so good. Is like I'm always trying to improve. I'm always trying to get better. I'm always trying to look for the next way to improve myself or whatever I'm doing in that moment.
yeah.
So for me, I really don't like it. I don't like sitting on stage and hearing my accomplishments because I think you get fat and sassy.
Mm.
Just like Tom Izzo said. That's a quote from Tom Izzo, and I think it's hilarious, and I think it's very true. If you constantly let people tell you what you did in the past and what you've done, you're just gonna get fat and sassy.
I respect it. I respect it. So knowing how you are and how competitive you are, and obviously how how you want to just you're always chasing the next. What's next? What's next? Um, like what was some of your like high school workouts like? Like what was that
Um,
like? What did that grind look like? Because obviously you
so it
had
was
practice, but then what was it? What
yeah.
else?
You're saying off season or during the season?
Off season, or let's say during the season.
Okay, so during the season, non-game day, um, it's a workout before school, shower at the school, get your get your schoolwork in, do what you got to do, and then practice after school, and then just lifting all shots after practice. During a game, I would come in during lunchtime and put up a little gun and then just lift shots, get about 250 makes, 200 makes in. And then obviously off season, it was workout, lift, and then come back for another workout. Um, so yeah, I mean, I like that's like I was kind of saying before, that confidence, like there was no other. I knew I put the work in. I knew I paid my dues. I had no reason to not be confident in myself and my abilities. So, um, yeah, that's probably a good picture of kind of what it looked like.
And I love it. I love the grind, man. I love the grind for sure, for sure. So how was it? How was it playing for your dad? Like
Horrible.
I had the opportunity of playing with playing for him, and like it was great. Like that was my dog, like. But I was just I'm curious with the father son dynamic. Like how was it?
Horrible. If you can
Really?
get if you get House on the podcast next, he could tell you. But we didn't. We're so competitive.
Yep.
Um, he's competitive, and he's not going to give an inch into his vision for the program. Um, his vision for us as people moving forward on past basketball. Like he's the type of dude that's not going to budge on his standard and like with his vision. So I felt like when I was back in high school that a lot of the brunt of things, whenever things would go sideways, it was always my fault. Um, and I would say there's a little truth to that. He had obviously he's my dad, so there's a little different relationship than other people's kids. But if we were not playing up to the standard at halftime, if we weren't playing to the standard in practice, he was all over me. And then my mouth, so we kind of would get in these back and forth, but he would like turn me up.
Hmm.
Like when we would get in the back and forth, like I'd be yelling at him, but I'd still be playing my game.
Yeah.
And it did help me like that I look back and like the banter back and forth, the competitiveness that definitely raised my standard of play tremendously. And looking back on it now, I sit there and I'm like, man, he was all you could ask for. And I tell him that too. I tell him that all the time. Like, hey, you weren't. I know I gave you problems. You probably hated coaching me at times, but you also loved it. But yeah, I mean, I got nothing but great things now to say about him because as you remove yourself from the situation and you learn and you grow and mature, you can kind of look back and self-reflect, and you're like, he was right.
Yeah.
He was right. But like, like we're so 106, we'd be up like 20 at halftime, and he'd come in just getting all over me. And I'm sitting there with my hands up like this, and I'm like, what we're up by 20. We're gonna
Not good
win this
enough.
game by 30. Like, and that's what I didn't understand as a naive high school kid was like, it doesn't matter who you're playing, who the competition is. There's our standard, and if you're not getting to that standard, you're gonna get it, and we're gonna try to get you to that standard. And yeah, I mean, all my friends, all my teammates in high school, they love my dad. Every chance they can get to get in the pool at the crib, they're coming over because they probably want to see him more than they want to see me.
Right. Right. Sounds about
Like
right.
yeah. So yeah, it was a unique experience, but a really cool one.
Hmm. Hmm. No, and I'm sure that, like you said, the banter, the back and forth, like that prepared you for coaches that you would see in the future.
Right.
Yep, yep. So with the accolades, all the stats that I just read, 106, two state championships, Mr. Basketball, you choose UWGB for college. So what went into that decision?
Link Darner. I don't know if you know him at all. Um, he was at, I think it's Florida Southern. He won a D2 national championship and then came to UWGB my junior year of high school.
Okay.
Um, Carrington Love.
Yep. Yep. See
Shout
love.
out to Monkey Legend.
Shout out see love. Yep.
Uh,
Gotta get him on
Jordan
here too.
Faust. Yeah, Jordan Faust.
Yep.
Um, Kenneth Lowe, Khalil Smalls, a couple of those guys. They actually went to the tournament my junior year. So I'm sitting there getting recruited by them. He comes in year one, takes him to the tournament. And if you know anything about Link Darner, that dude's a ball coach.
Mm.
Like there's not a ton of ball coaches in the D1. You can kind of get there. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
You can get there if you know the right people. But Link Darner's a ball coach, and so that's why I went there. I loved him. They kept me away from the campus on the recruiting visits. I think by design. I was kind of down by Lambeau a little more.
Oh, you was in Ashwaubenon.
Yeah, I was in Ashwaubenon. So I did again a young naive kid. You didn't look at the entire picture. You just kind of saw what you got, and so yeah, that was Link Darner was the main reason. Still love that dude to this day. One of my favorite coaches I've ever had the opportunity to play for. And it really just came down to him and his belief in me. Here's a great story. So when I went on my my unofficial visit, the first time I went, he took his car keys out and he slid them across to me, and he said, "You're driving this thing."
Mm.
So like, and he never lied. There's a lot of coaches that say one thing and do the other, and like
Yep.
I started from day one. I think I led us in one of three guys that led us in minutes. So what you see with Link Darner is what you get, and I'm so grateful for my opportunity at UWGB.
Man, I love it. I love it, man. So with him sliding you the keys, you know, telling you, hey, drive this thing, and you had, successful, freshman year, what went into your decision to transfer to UW Madison?
The campus. I don't know if you've ever been to UW. I don't want to slander UWGB. I love UWGB. I'm a Phoenix at heart. But
So
it's kind of
quick story. Quick story.
yeah. Yep.
So coming out of high school, I was getting recruited by GB as a preferred walk on. So I took an unofficial to GB, and like you can only imagine in 2003, 2004 what their campus looked like. But I mean, I ain't trying to, it was what it was back then, but it was just, yeah, it was nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just plopped in the middle of woods.
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
know. And that's no disrespect. Like if I have a buddy that from my Velpo team that plays there, and he's having a tremendous career. Like you can go there and have a great career. It's just not what I was looking for my 4 or 5 years that I got to do my college basketball experience.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So the campus. So you needed a little bit more life, a little bit more culture.
I needed a little more life. I needed a little more action happening. Yeah, that's really all it came down to.
I hear you.
And that's I tell Link that all the time to this day. It wasn't you. I've told him probably 25, 30 times. I'm gonna keep telling him it. It wasn't them. It was just I couldn't see myself doing that for 4 years. And then looking back and being like, that's what my college experience was.
Got you. So how would you describe your college experience at UW Madison?
I mean, UW Madison is one of the best, if not the best, university in the world. Like summertime, the lakes going, rooftop bars, obviously the success of the sports, the W. the national brand that the W is. It's like nothing that compares.
I love it.
And
I
then
love it.
like my teammates, high school buddies that went there. As like UWGB was more a commuter school, so
Okay.
it was just really like outside of your teammates, and like it's good to spend time with your teammates, but you also want some other people that you're not seeing all day, every day, 7 days a week as well to get that little like reset and break. Um, and like Matt, like 10, 15 of my high school friends went there. Bunch of people in conference, bunch of people that I went played AAU with. So in terms of just like having a good all around college experience, I can't imagine there's a better university than Wisconsin.
No, I hear you. I hear you. So how? But you went to school like during COVID though. So like, how was it like the school life and then the athletic life?
So the school life you were all online. Um, you had your tutors. You'd have to throw your mask on. You'd have to test every day as an athlete. Um, so you weren't really living like a normal student. I don't even remember if students were on campus or not. I don't know. They might not have been. They might have just been at home. But yeah, we were testing every day. There was a ton of protocols. Like if you were around somebody who had COVID, you would have to isolate for 7 days, no matter if you tested negative or not. Um, there was no nightlife because you couldn't get big groups together. The athletes, because we were all getting tested, would throw like athlete get-togethers and parties and stuff just to like get that social aspect. Um, but yeah, I mean, you're walking on thin ice if you're going around too many people because of what it all meant to get the season off with all that going on, and then you kind of felt obligated to um, not put yourself at harm's way. So then you're ruining it for the rest of your team, you know? Because if I go out with a bunch of my hometown buddies and then I test positive the next day and I just showed up for a lift or workout, well, now I just infected 15, 20 other dudes. Um, I wish we could have got that year with fans and normalness because we were ranked what fourth at one point. We might have opened up as fourth. I think we opened up number four in the country or maybe sixth, and we got all the way to fourth until we lost, and then COVID.
COVID.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
if Badger Nation could have got that team, because I think we lost like 6 or 7 games at home, which you're just not losing at the Kohl Center with your fans. It's
for
just
sure.
like it's not happening. So, um, kind of got gypped. Kind of got gypped on that year. Everybody did, not
No,
just me, not
absolutely,
just
absolutely.
yeah, not just Wisconsin. Everybody did.
Yeah, no, that was a wild time. You know, I look back on it, you know, and you know, I was still coaching at Nicolay at the time, and like the our players played in masks.
Yeah, right.
You know, and like you just look back on it, you like, but I gotta credit them, you know, for them having the love of the you know the love for the game, where they're like, all right, we're gonna do whatever it takes. Like we gotta switch mask every timeout or whatever. You know, like we're gonna play this game that we grew up and love. So, like you said, it wasn't just the state of Wisconsin or Madison or Milwaukee, whatever. Excuse me. It was it was everybody. So
Everybody.
yep, everybody suffered from it. So, but no, I was curious as to what your experience was like that.
Yeah.
Yep. So at UW, like you suffer injury, and next couple years, you know, you fighting back. So then ultimately you transfer to Valpo. So what other schools were you looking at for that last year?
Um, I was trying to stay close to home.
Hmm.
So I wasn't looking at a ton. Denver, Chattanooga with LP. Um, there's a couple others, but one's Valpo called Missouri Valley is an elite league for talent. I mean, look at what they did this year for Lance Jones, starting on Purdue, who's in the national championship. He was at Southern Illinois.
Yep.
Marcus Damask was at Southern Illinois as well. He's starting on Illinois. One of Nebraska's best players was a Bradley transfer. So like, I knew the Missouri Valley with the success of Loyola, Drake. Um, I think Wichita State was in there prior, but before they left. So I just, with the COVID year and recruits coming in and into Madison, I kind of knew my role was going to be seventh, eighth man again, role player, and I knew my body wasn't holding up to what it had in the previous years. So I was really just not trying to work, not trying to get into that workforce, take advantage of that COVID year, and then just be on the floor as much as possible at the highest level. And ultimately, that's what I did at Valpo. I started every game, and then I ended up just getting hurt again. My body broke down, and the rest was history.
So with these injuries, like, what's your? I guess let's break it down. So, like, what was your headspace like after the ACL injury, and then what was your head like? Where was your head at like after the after your back? It was the back injury at Valpo, right?
Back, yeah, and
Yeah.
then I had a hip. I had a hip in there too.
Mm,
I tore my labrum in my hip. Um, the ACL is horrible. The ACL is horrible because I had the hip surgeries um, before the ACL. So that was like my freshman or sophomore year with the hips. And then the ACL. So I going into the surgery, I was like, oh, I've had surgeries before. I've had my tonsils taken out. This will be smooth sailing, and I'll be back in no time. And I couldn't have been more wrong. Anybody who has been through an ACL knows what I'm talking about. It is just an absolute grind. Um, so yeah, I wasn't in a good headspace at all. I couldn't do like you spend all that time training and working towards this goal, and then you just can't get your body to do what you could do before, and it's just really frustrating. And then I think you add that piece to like you add the piece of like that clock's ticking. Like I'm a
yeah.
junior now. Oh, okay, now I only have one more year left. Like this is all I got left to play basketball. Um, so yeah, my headspace wasn't great there. COVID added onto it because that was the next year or no. So my next year off of the ACL, I just like the whole year I didn't feel right. I didn't feel good. I just couldn't move the same. And then that COVID year was like when my body kind of came around and I could kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. But then COVID kind of got thrown in there. So yeah, I didn't have a great headspace leaving Wisconsin, and that was kind of part of the reason of going to Valpo was just, hey, you love this game for so long, you don't want to have any ill feelings towards this game that gave you so much. So I was like, I didn't really care what happened at Valpo. Obviously, I'm a competitor and I want to win and I want to do well. But like, I was just happy to feel somewhat decent and play the game I love, still at a very high level.
I love it. Yeah, no, and it's unfortunate because well, at Valpo you was getting to it.
Yeah,
You was back in your bag for sure,
yeah.
for sure.
Oh,
But you know, so let's talk about like so you get the back injury happens. So then what are you thinking now? Like, are you already starting to think like life after basketball, or are you like I'm still gonna kind of chase some overseas dreams, or like what was your thought?
so I was thinking like if I played well at Valpo. Um, and I saw my body holding up. I was gonna try playing professionally overseas or whatever that looked like. Um, but after the back injury happened, uh, I went and got an MRI or CAT scan or whatever it is, and they showed me like my discs. So you have like 12 discs that go up your back, and they're about like this thick on the MRI. And my lower one, where I had all my issues, is like it's like down to like that. So like all the ones up my back, like they show like a clear picture, like they're like that thick. So my bottom one is like there's nothing left there. Um, so the doctors and stuff said like, yeah, you can give this a go, but ultimately it's going to end in um, a back surgery, and you especially at your age, you don't want that. You don't want to have to deal with the disc surgeries. You don't want to have to do any of that. So then it was a pretty clear, obvious decision for me. It's not like I was like mad about it, or it was just kind of a very clear, okay, this is the time to put the ball down um, and explore life after basketball. And yeah, right away I was thinking coaching, but then I I just coaching is interesting to me. I've seen it. I've seen it from so many different viewpoints and angles, and I've been the best player. I've been a role guy. I've been a bench guy. So I've gone through the injury. So I kind of have every perspective that a player can go through, and I think I would do it at like a high school. I help out at the Bryan and Stratton JUCO level, but like once you get to D1 NBA, it's a business, and it's a business first, and then it's basketball. And that I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody, but that's my perspective on it. And I just didn't. I saw what it could do to people, and I didn't want it. I didn't want that to be me. I want to have a family. Um, I want I want to have a good relationship with my wife, my kids, my parents, my two sisters, and I just saw the time commitment and what it can do to you, and I just I decided against it. I decided against it, and yeah,
So then you started. You want to talk a little bit about what you started to kind of combat that.
yeah,
So you want to dive into Serenity Klub.
yeah. So then I started Serenity Klub, which is like I do individual workouts with kids, group workouts, and then I run camps and after school programs. And it's just anybody who loves basketball and wants to get better at basketball and learn some life lessons and grow as a person. I'm trying to bring that opportunity to them. Um, Serenity is like the definition of serenity is the state of being calm, peaceful, and untroubled. So I just think with my experience that I saw and my perspective, uh, there's a lack of that within sports training. That mental side of the game, the visualizing, the breath work, different things like that. I almost say it's 75, 80, 90% of the game. Um, I mean, when we backtrack on this podcast, we talked about like the competitiveness that I brought. I would say that's 90% of what made me a good player. I just wanted it more than you.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's why I got what I got out of it, because I like if you want it more than somebody, you're gonna beat that person
Yep. You're gonna
nine
figure it
times
out.
out of 10.
Yep. Do what it takes.
Yeah. So I kind of saw a niche in the market, a flaw in the system, so to speak, and I just want to help athletes that struggle with that piece of the mental side of sports. So I have a guy named Mason Steffen who's certified in all that stuff. So I'll run these 8-week after school programs for different. Um, it can be high school, elementary, you name it. And for 8 weeks, I'll come in there. I'll give you a good workout, hour and a half, and then one of the sessions is a like 45-minute workout, on court workout, and then 45 minutes of kind of that meditation, breath work, and visualization piece of the game. So it's been great. I've gotten good feedback from coaches. They seem to really like it. The players seem to really like it because like not many people think of that stuff. And what may like if you look at player development as a whole, there's many different pieces to it than just the skill and athleticism. Um, so just trying to catch the system up to uh, the ways of training.
That's dope. And I love how you found your niche, right? Because like we know it, we're in the basketball world. There's thousands of trainers, or
Right.
we'll put air quotes, thousands of trainers, right? But it's like, okay, what's your value proposition? Like, what's going to separate you from ABC trainer, XYZ trainer? You know what I mean? Like, what can you add?
Right.
So with you adding in the visualization, the breathe, the breath work, like all of these different components that athletes tend to neglect or just don't know. So like for you to add that access and exposure piece to athletes, that's phenomenal, bro. Like that's dope.
Yeah.
Super dope.
Yeah. And then we're working on some like bigger camps, team camp type things where you kind of add the leadership standpoint or viewpoint to everything. There's a couple, there's a good friend of mine up in Minnesota, or Keith Turner, probably
Oh
you were
yeah,
probably
yeah,
around.
yeah. He was
He's a
he's a
university
football.
guy,
Yeah,
football
yeah.
coach.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
So he has a company where he goes into schools, businesses, and does leadership seminars. He's got like a whole curriculum, and I think that's a very underutilized thing as well in the whole player development aspect of a player is that leadership component. I think I was exposed to it at a very young age because my dad kind of made me that leader.
Mhm.
Like I said, like halftime, timeout, like it was always on me. So I kind of had to figure that out on my own, how to kind of deal with everybody's when stuff hits the fan. You're kind of looking at me, but I don't even know what to do.
Yeah,
Like in
right.
this situation, like why are you looking at me? Um, so yeah, so we're trying to get that. It's a long, slow process, but I think with the momentum we got right now, I think we could create some pretty cool events for
Yeah,
kids.
yeah, yeah. I'm along for the ride.
Oh yeah,
I'm rooting for you, man. I love it. I love it. So we coming down the home stretch. So I got five this or that question. All right, so 30 points or 15 assists.
30 points.
All right, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up too, because I got another stat for you. You scored 2,360 points during your high school career. At the
What I
time,
what I shoot from the floor?
you shot 64%.
A lot of good shots, Leaf.
That's you are the definition of efficient. That's efficiency. God. Yeah, that's crazy. All right. This or that. Chips or candy?
Candy.
Now this is gonna be interesting because you play for both of these sponsor schools. Under Armour or Nike?
Come on now.
Checks. You gotta get it.
Nike. Come on now.
Ah, early bird or night owl?
Early bird. I like my
Night.
coffee. You know that.
Yep, yep, yep. All right, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be a good one, and I want you to explain this one. 2015 state championship or 2016 state championship?
2015.
Why?
Just the way we did it. So 2015, going back a year, 2014, we lost to Nina and I missed so we're down. We blew a 15-point lead at halftime.
Ooh.
We're down 2. They got one more shot at the free throw line. Dude misses. Sam or Ruzek got the rebound, outlet it to me. I go length of the floor, little runner kind of at the buzzer. I miss it. And I was kind of wide open too. I tricked it. So then fast forward that next year, same exact game, Leaf. Like when I tell you this, it went exactly like this. So we were up 15 again at half. We blow the lead against Nina, the same team. They tie it up with 15, 20 seconds left. I get the outlet. We just waste all the time. I get an ISO at the top of the key, 1-4 flat, runner at the buzzer. I make it this year.
Wow.
It was deja vu. Whatever deja vu looks like, that's what it was.
That was the sectional final?
Yeah.
To get to state. Oh wow. Okay.
No, basically because we blew out the next team.
Yeah. Right.
But essentially the sectional final.
Man.
So then we get to state, and that's when Germantown was 3-peat. So they're going for their 4th.
Yep.
So we win our first game against West Allis Central. Germantown beats whoever they beat. And so we meet them at Saturday night at the Cole for the Division I state title. And everybody in the gym kind of thought it was Germantown. Like, oh, who are these up north kids that kind of just arrived on the scene type deal. And I don't know if you remember that game at all, but Sam had he had 16 or 18 in the first quarter. That was when it was 4 quarters. Yeah. So just to see that all play out and just how much the crowd kind of shifted towards wanting us to win just purely off of Sam just came out hooping.
Yep.
And going back to you were talking about my 2,400 points. I didn't take a whole shot that entire first quarter. I was just find Sam. Let's not make this any harder than it is. Exactly. Let's just find Sam. And that's kind of speaks volume to our relationship. We kind of had that understanding where to get the ball. And then we go on. Sam scores 25. I score 25. We beat them by 15 or 16 points. And then raising that up, the goal ball with my dad is just first experience, first time. I don't think there's anything like the first time you do something. And then just the way it happened, how it kind of manifested itself, it was very cool. And then the next year, we kind of blew everybody out.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. It wasn't kind of.
Yeah, gotta be humble. So, yeah.
No, that's special. That's special. Okay, I see. I thought that you would have said 16 just because it was your senior year. You went out on top, but once you break it down like that, and then to have this such similarities between 2014 and 2015, that's okay. It makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah. And then a really fun one too was the year after when I got to just be a fan for my dad. That was really special to me too, because I know how much that meant to him to get that third. So and I was more nervous sitting in that crowd than I was the 2 years prior playing actually in the game.
For sure.
There was nothing like that, sitting there and just being the ultimate fan and being nervous and excited at the same time. That one was really cool as well.
So It's been dope, man. Just reliving these memories, man. I love it. I love it. You already know how I feel about you and your dad, man. So, man, well, there we have it. There we have it. Another episode of Leaf with the Legends with my boy, my Stevens Point legend, Spash legend, Mr. 2016, Mr. Basketball, my boy Trevor T Money Anderson, man. Thanks for pulling up.
I appreciate it.
All right, y'all. Remember, as always, be legendary or be lost. Peace.